Hello, welcome to the West Ham Way YouTube. Myself, Mark Carlaw. Well, today I'm joined by pop group Harry and the Chicks, who are big West Ham fans and someone that have performed at our pre-match events a couple of times now. Before we get into the football, guys, can I ask how are you and how was your Christmas and New Year?
Yeah, it was good. It was nice to get a break from watching West Ham lose, really.
Yeah, it was good up until Boxing Day.
Yeah, I know. Don't. It's like, I can't believe that we've gone from actually enjoying football for a little while, and now suddenly it's just back to being West Ham again. It's quite remarkable. Before we go into talking about the football and stuff, can I ask about yourselves and about the band and exactly what things you got coming up and certain gigs you got coming on the way?
Yeah. So I'm Harry. These are the Chicks. We have a gig on the 28th of January, which is at the Fiddler's Elbow, and it's our first one with a drummer. So
nice.
Hey, please come.
Where is that? Whereabouts is the venue?
North London.
Camden.
Oh, Camden. Oh, right. Excellent. Yeah. Oh, cool. That sounds really good. I'll tell you what, I've seen you play a couple of times now, and I've got to say, you've been excellent. I was going to say, I loved your rendition of Bubbles, I must say, but I'm a big Foo Fighters fan, and I remember you doing The Pretender, if I remember rightly. And that was very, very good. So, obviously, I've got to say, if you've got a chance to go and see them play live, because, very, very good. Obviously, you're West Ham fans. Now, I always see you, Harry, especially in Claret and Blue, always performing in Claret and Blue and also around the ground in Claret and Blue. So can you tell us a little bit about your love for the club and how that all started?
Yeah. So I started supporting West Ham because my dad basically forced me into West Ham out of the womb. So he's been going since he was 8 or 9 years old, and he's now 66.
Finally.
So he's been heartbroken for a long time. He's very heartbroken again right now. And whenever we do well, he just doesn't think it will ever last. So I'm hoping before he dies, we actually win something. That would be really great. So
it would be good. It would be good. Before we popped it, it would be nice to see it. No, I agree. It is a little bit like that, isn't it? And like I was saying earlier, it just feels a bit like I thought these days were gone. Do you know what I mean? I think we all fell into a false sense of security, thinking it's actually quite nice in supporting West Ham. What's going on? And there's a little stark reminder this season. No, it's the West Ham that we support. So and obviously the Chicks then as well. So are you both West Ham fans yourselves then?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, completely.
Excellent. How did you all meet then? Did you meet through football, or have you met through other avenues?
No, it was basically me and Mason were in a band a while ago that's now disbanded. But we did a gig, and Harry, it was like a sort of battle of the bands kind of thing. And Harry was one of the judges because she won the previous year. And so Harry performed, and then we sort of spoke to her after the show, and she needed some more musicians to play with her. And it just sort of started like that, really.
Yeah, but the fun thing is that they both went to my sixth form, but I'm a few years above. And It turns out also that Mason is my cousin, and we found out the day we met.
Really? That's amazing. That's really cool. How did you find out? I've got to know. Go on, tell me how you found out.
So there's no blood relation, but I share a blood relation with Harry's half sister. But it's at the gig where we met.
Yeah.
Downtown, I was about 16, 17 or so. Yeah. So I still had my parents with me. Yeah. My mum was just standing there going, I think that's my aunt. I've not seen her in about 30 years, but surely. And I remember my dad saying, no, you probably recognise her because you've seen her in Appleby or something. Don't go bother that brand new woman. My mum went up to me, I was like, sorry, but you bear such a strong resemblance here. Are you my aunt? But then joke's on us because she was right.
That's amazing. Oh, so cool. That's amazing. What a coincidence. But no, it's good. I've got to say, when you watch you play, it seems like you've played for a long time. Now, I don't know a lot of your history in terms of what you've done, but I've seen that you've won a couple of awards. You've been involved doing things with the BBC previously. I think is it Radio X as well? No, possibly Absolute Radio. You've done bits and pieces, haven't you? You've been quite busy the last few years. And have you got certain things in the pipeline then that are coming up that are quite exciting?
So I've got a few singles that I'm working on. I want to release quite a few songs this year, but I'm not sure how to go about it yet because we've got like new management and stuff. So I'm just deciding when I want to release it. But I've got a lot of the artwork for the next single done, and I'm hoping to release it maybe like February or March, and then we'll see how it goes because I've got quite a lot of demos to do. So I'm hoping that that's next.
It's very cool, very exciting. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I'll be sort of looking out for you, and yeah, definitely we're going to come along to one of your shows very soon. One thing I need to ask, then we need to go into this. I know it's painful. We've got to talk about football, unfortunately, which is the bad bit. We'll try and get through this as best we can. Can I ask, what are your thoughts on the season so far? And yeah, where do you really see this going? This campaign?
Bad. Overall. Not a good season so far. I'm a bit worried because it doesn't seem like the owners have any intention of like replacing Moyes. And not that I think Moyes has done an incredible job at West Ham. It's just sometimes it's like game over. Because I feel like we're just playing the same way every time, and now every other club just knows how West Ham play. Like we used to be really good at corners, and now we still use that corner technique, but everyone's learned how to go against West Ham corners. So
yeah,
like just things like that. There's just no change in the game from Moyes. So.
A bit controversially, I think there have been a little bit of change since the international break. I think there have been steps in the right direction. He's finally playing stuff that's not really a 4-4-3 every week, although he does like to chuck it in every once in a while. But I've seen like, there's been a couple of bits of play I've been quite pleased with in the past couple of months, particularly in Saturday's game against Wolves, even though it wasn't doing well. But particularly there was that run where it went from Paqueta and then all the way through into the corner, and then Bowen just couldn't get a shot off it properly.
Yeah.
They're just taking steps into a small of the play I want to see. It's just that the finishing is the thing that needs working on. And it's very much the finishing that gets you the goals and wins games. Right? It's good seeing some attacking football, but it doesn't get you that doesn't get you the points. The goals get you the points, and I suppose that's maybe might be getting into a bit earlier than we should. But like how we've now bought Ings as someone who can score goals in the Prem, because we've sort of, I suppose, Bowen. I don't see him getting into the box. He sort of runs up and floats stuff in my opinion. Skamaka sent some good screamers in from quite far away, but no tap-ins. He's not really like a complete forward, I think. Antonio, I mean, even him, he's been moaning for ages that he wants another. He went to West Ham to sign another striker to make him work, and now he's got one, and he's not as good as he thought he was, and he's not getting many games. He's happy with it, so you can't have it both ways, man. I want to like it, but he's.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's just there's so many issues at the moment with the club, and it's hard to really put a finger on exactly what is the problem. It just feels like it's been one of them seasons that's just never really got going, and I don't know, the confidence seems to be waning, I suppose, in David Moyes. And that's my next question to you, really, I suppose, is around the manager, because there's so much divide. Well, actually, when I say divide, it's probably now leaning far more towards replacing David Moyes.
Yeah,
where do you sit on this? Do you think it's the right call to make a change for the manager, or do you still think he's the man and should be given a bit more time?
I'm definitely David Moyes' biggest fan. However, I'm still gonna vote out.
Really?
I just can't take us being relegated again.
Well, it'd be a disaster, wouldn't it? Let's be honest.
Well, look at our stadium. What a shambles. We've got this huge stadium and we're going to be in the Championship.
I mean, I've never known a football club that have qualified for Europe, got to the semi-finals of the Europa League, qualified for Europe again, and then decided to spend £180 million on players to then be in a relegation battle. I mean, that really is West Ham, isn't it? I mean, I've never heard anything so ridiculous.
Bubbles is so true. Like it's the best anthem for West Ham United for sure.
Well, I mean, you sing it enough, so you know what I mean. And to be honest with you, this kind of started when you started playing the gig. So I'm obviously definitely blaming you as a band. I'm pretty sure you've got some sort of input into this.
No.
I accept responsibility.
I blame him.
So what's our thoughts on Danny Ings then? Because it looks like, although it's not quite complete yet, as far as I know, I think the bid's been accepted and the players having a medical and sort of finalising terms. So are we happy with Danny Ings? Do we think that's a good signing by the club?
Well, yeah, it's you can. I hate the people that say, "Oh, can he do it in the Prem?" When talking about someone coming in, it's like, "Oh yeah, Messi scored loads of goals in La Liga. Can he do it in the Prem?" When Mitrovic came to Fulham from Newcastle, back when they were still a Championship, they're like, "Oh, he can do it in the Prem." And that's the same about Scamacca now. I find it such a dodgy argument, but it's just because it just feels so hand wavy. Just so you can't come back to it because they haven't played in the Prem yet. But then Ings very much. Yeah, he's got a decent record in the Premier. I mean, he's been at Liverpool. He's done pretty well for Villa. I mean, that's. I don't want to say we'll slot him into the formation and we'll start winning, but I think if we can work with him, I think it will go well. So I
don't disagree with that. I think I quite like it. I think the thing I like about Danny Ings is as well, which is rarely what we seem to get with West Ham. It's like he's proven in the Premier League. Like you've been saying, like. He's kind of ready. So even if he's available for the Everton game, for instance, he can go straight into the side. He's played against Everton many times. He knows the defenders. He knows the league. And I think that gives us at least a bit of confidence. We know that he can score goals. But because, as you say, that's been a big problem this season, scoring goals. But I've got to ask then, if you're in charge of West Ham now, and let's be honest, you'd probably be doing a better job, who would you be going out into market as well to go and buy? Do you think we still need to do some more strengthening in January, or would you be happy with what we've got at the moment?
That's a good question. I'm trying to think where. I don't know. That's a good question. Because my issue about a lot of our defenders is I just don't think they're very fast. I think they're technical defenders, particularly. The new German signing, Carlaw. I liked him as a defender. Like it was the Leicester game. If Maddison ran into him, he'd get the ball off him. But then Maddison realised he could run round him, and Maddison just ran round him every time. And then what else have you got? I mean, Brentford before Christmas when obviously Cresswell had that slip up and. He just ran straight past him and stuff like that. I just don't think they're very fast. But I think with our new signings, I'm hopeful. I think get Downs a bit better and replace the very off form Souček. Get the new defensive. I don't think it's the transfer market needs to look to. I think it's the Chadwell Heath training ground we need to look to. I'm happy with where it's going. In terms of signing.
Yeah, I think the signings are fine. I just think the way that they're being played, like I feel like Scamacca could be utilised better.
You just think he's fit.
Yeah, well, I think you told me this before. I'm pretty sure she mentioned this.
You just can't do it in the Prem, no? So I hate myself for saying that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I totally agree with you, Harry, as well. I think that we've got the players there. We've done. You look at our squad; it's very talented group of players, but it just doesn't seem to be working. They're not really being played in the right position, and that's the other thing I think frustrates people with David Moyes. It's almost like he buys the players that play in certain positions, and then he tries to change them and say, "Well, actually, I don't want you to play there. I want you to play in a more advanced role." And the players thinking, "Well, that's not what I do. Why?" And that's always what I feel the frustration is. It's like rather than get players to fit a system, he does it the other way round. And it's very frustrating. Not to keep harrying on about Mr. David Moyes. I know that you love him, Harry, so that's let's try not to. If we're going to replace David Moyes, who are you thinking is to be coming into the club? Who do you think would be the ideal replacement, if even if it's short term or long term?
I kept wanting Tuchel,
really?
Chelsea manager for ages. He was really good. I don't understand why they got rid of him. But fair enough.
I've heard some rumours about that.
Maybe for West Ham, but
Yeah, I think he got done for disciplinary reasons or something. There is some rumours going around about Tuchel, but yeah, we'll probably won't be saying it on here because it won't go down very well. I'll keep it quiet. I'll tell you when I see you. Yeah, so is that who you'd want, Tuchel, if that was your choice?
Well, if we're not talking about the disciplinary side, like Chelsea did well last season, right?
Yeah,
because
they've replaced.
Remember last season we were quite good.
They've replaced the manager and they've still got the same problems. So I don't think the issue was management. I mean, and they've got similar problems to us. They're complaining about they're spending all that money and then they're only 10th.
It's not bad.
I'm saying, yeah, if they're considering themselves like a top 6 club, maybe.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. Shut up.
You're not going to get relegated.
You've not got real problems. You don't. It's a good season if we're finishing 10th. What are you on about? What are you moaning for?
Not bad.
It was a weird one, wasn't it, last season? Because it was like we've been pretty dire for pretty much all of 2022. We were pretty awful. Like, don't get me wrong, Europe was fantastic, but that kind of masked what was going on. So it's quite surprising when you look back at it that we finished 7th. I think we were actually quite fortunate that we did.
We were bad.
It kind of papers over the cracks, though, doesn't it? So I need to ask them, before we sort of start going into your predictions for the Everton game, where do you see the season going? Honestly, where do you think do you think this is a relegation battle to the end? Do you think we're going to go down, or can you see West Ham pulling away from this and having an okay season? Where is this going? Because I'm going to hold you to this, obviously, because this is what you're going to promise me is going to happen if it's good news.
Promise.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think if we don't make any changes, I do think we're going to go down because he's not changing the way we play really that much, and even if he does change it, it's not good enough. So we're like halfway through the season now, basically. I don't know. I just don't see it ending well, personally. I'm hoping that we don't get relegated because that would be quite embarrassing.
Oh, it'd be catastrophic, wouldn't it? But I think you're right. Like, if they don't make changes, you can't see any other way around it, can you? It just looks that way. Like, it doesn't seem to be changing under David Moyes. I think you're right. I think we have to make a change. So if we made a change and freshened it up, can you see West Ham turning this around and clicking and getting out of this mess?
Yeah, I think we have good players. We've proved that we have good players from the last 2 seasons, at least, especially the season before. But I don't know. I feel like they've lost like all their morale as well. You can see it in Rice and that's the other thing. Losing Noble, I think, really affected the squad.
Yeah,
but now he's back, so it's going to make much of a change. Hopefully,
I actually do. I think it will make a big difference having him around, and I think you're right. There's been so much change, isn't there? Well, not just on the pitch as well, like you say, Noble, but you look at the backroom staff of Stuart Pearce and things like that. It just seems to be too much change, I think, in the summer, and we just seem to be paying the price for it. Before we say goodbye, I've got to ask you the final question, which is Everton. You know, a massive, massive game for both clubs. What's the score going to be? What's happening?
Oh, I mean, I
don't want to say it.
Are you confident?
No. I love my club, and I would never boo West Ham. I'm so tired of the fans booing them at the ground. I would never do that.
No.
I just think it's wrong. Like, you should support your club, no matter whether they're in. Like, even if we're not even in a league, you support your club. That's it. But yeah, I reckon, like, I'm hoping, and like this is genuine hope at this point, like 0-0.
Really? With goalless?
That's me being hopeful.
I can't believe that's your hopeful. No goals.
I think 1-0. I reckon we'd be lucky.
That'd be okay.
I'd be happy. I want to get at least a point out of it.
Yeah, I just want a point.
But I don't think we're keeping a clean sheet.
Yeah.
Really?
But I think 1-0.
Could scrape a draw, I think.
Yeah, I think get a point out of it. I'd love to see a win. Maybe our first win in absolute
ages.
Yonks in the Prem.
So Harry and the Chicks are saying a draw. Do you know what? I think we're going to win it, but I reckon it's going to be one of them games. It's going to just be awful. It's going to be cold, wet, miserable. Do you know what I mean? It's one of the days. I think it's just going to be a scrappy,
it'll be a penalty.
Penalty.
It will be. Yeah, be a penalty. Yeah, it's going to be. It's got that kind of. I can't imagine it being a very good game to watch. I think we're just going to be sort of sitting there going, "God, this is dire," because Everton as well look in terrible shape, which thankfully they are, because at least it gives us a half a chance. But yeah, that's my gut feeling. I'm going to go with 1-0, and then let's see how we compare.
Okay, so it's a draw or 1-0 through a penalty. That's
the excitement. This is where our excitement. This is where our lives have got to. A dull 0-0 or a crappy 1-0. That's it.
I mean, depends if we can name Ings in the squad in time, really. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the other thing. Yeah, I mean, I think it's midday tomorrow, so fingers crossed that will go through in time, and then we can register him, and then because that will at least give everyone a little bit of a lift, even if he's probably not going to get any service, and probably and they'll probably get to touch the ball about 4 times, but still be exciting.
Pretty much.
Listen, it's been so good having you on. Really looking forward to seeing you play live again. I really hope to see you at next, at a pre-match event again soon. And it's been an absolute pleasure, and hopefully we'll get you on again soon.
Yeah. By the way, this is a message for the West Ham way. We want Teddy Sheringham.
What, as a guest?
I love Teddy. He's my favourite player of all time. I love you, Teddy Sheringham. There we go.
Well, I think you mentioned this before, and I think it was in the pipeline, wasn't it, with Teddy? I think there's something going on there. So,
hello,
yeah.
I'm your biggest fan.
I'll have a word and see if I can get it sorted, because that would be very, very good.